Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to my channel, Roseology. I am so happy and honored to have you all here with me today. Obviously, for those of you that have been subscribed to this channel, you know that this is a completely different type of video. This is the different direction that I was talking about taking my content in a few videos ago. And basically, this is what it is, where I am in front of the camera instead of behind it, getting a little bit more personal here. So yeah, the timing felt right. I really had to kind of get over my anxieties when it came to sharing things about my personal life, my beliefs, my spirituality. I think it was just a lot of anxiety coming from me getting up here on camera talking about my spirituality. Those are very intimate, private details of a person's life. And me being a very private person, I'm a life path 7, you guys. I'm a very extremely private person. Taurus sun, Cap rising, Leo moon. Let me just put it all out there. So I'm a very, very private person. You know, talking about things like spirituality, religion, things like that. Those are some of the most private and intimate details of a person's life. And to, get up here, you guys can see my face. You know who I am. And this is what I believe in. This is my beliefs. It gave me a lot of anxiety for some reason. I knew eventually it was going to come to this where I had to appear in front of the camera instead of behind it, because there's a lot more content that I want to touch on that wasn't necessarily possible without me kind of coming face to face with you guys like this. So I'm really excited about this new direction. This is a beautiful new beginning. Even though the decade and the year is ending, this is a beautiful new beginning that I'm starting. But a few things that I definitely did want to address before getting to the point of this video. You guys head down to the comments in the description box if you want timestamps to just quickly access certain points and topics discussed in this video. I do want to say though, before we get started with this video, that I pray that you guys have been having a very beautiful, peaceful holiday season. I know that the holiday season can be quite difficult for some. I've never been a big Christmas person myself personally. I'm more of a Halloween type of person, but in my opinion, during this time, during the holiday season, it seems as though people are a lot more anxious and stressed out. Maybe they're working more hours because they're trying to afford all of these different things, all these different gifts, going to this place, that place, traveling. So instead of people really coming to a space where it's like, this is supposed to be a more warm, loving time, I think people sort of get caught up with the hecticness, if that's a word, of it all. It's interesting because society really pushes us to, you have to buy this, you have to buy that. It's the holiday season. Go out and spend all this money on Black Friday, do this, do that. And honestly, this is a time where we are supposed to be very reflective, very quiet. This is the winter. Even nature itself, they have gone into hibernation, or they are chilling out. They're not really as active, and we are a part of nature. It's like all these sort of pressures, and at the same time, you still have to maintain your own normal personal life during this holiday season. And it's like, so we're just extra busy, and right now we're supposed to be extra quiet. I really want to say that I hope that you guys are taking care of yourself, and that you guys are having as much of a peaceful and loving and beautiful time during this season as much as possible. Another thing that I definitely did want to mention here is the fact that when I first started this channel, I think back in March, I think around 7-8 months ago now, I never knew that I'd be starting a channel again, because I really did fight against this for a while. You guys know that if you've been following my channel for a while. I never expected this much of a blessing, this many beautiful souls to come into my life. You guys don't even really know what goes on in my personal life, but I can say for 2019, I understand now why God put you guys in my life, because you guys have literally become my strength, my support system. You guys push me to go harder. You inspire me. You make me want to study more, to learn more, so that the way I can put more information out there. And I've learned so much from you guys as well. It's like, it's the most beautiful space. And you guys came into my life at a time where I felt pretty alone, and I felt pretty misunderstood, and I felt like I didn't have a place where I belonged. And it's just so immensely beautiful. And honestly, you guys being so supportive and so loving is another reason that I think my anxiety sort of went away with me coming up here and showing my face and being in front of the camera. I really do think that it helped me to sort of face that fear, because you guys are just so warm and loving, and you've opened up your hearts to me. And I feel so abundantly blessed. It's insane. Thank you so much for helping me to push past my fears. Thank you for opening up your hearts to me. I promise to you guys, this is one thing that I can say for the holiday season and just in general, that I promise to you guys to always stay true to myself, to always stay true to you, and to keep being the best version of myself just for you guys, because you guys really have just pushed me to beyond my limits, and I can't thank you guys enough. I wish I could give each and every one of you like a hug and $1 million. If I could, I definitely would. A couple of things that I did want to mention first is that my pick a cards will be staying the same. I'm still going to be coming out with pick a cards. I'm just going to be adding a lot more content to my channel where I just open up different discussions and different things that we can talk about, different sort of ideas we can bounce off of each other, and talking about astrology, divination, tarot, energy, spirituality, life. Another thing that I definitely did want to address, because I get asked this question a lot, is do I have social media? No, you guys, I do not have social media. It's just not my thing. If I'm being completely honest, I used to be really heavily into it back when because I used to have a channel here on YouTube that I shut down, I want to say going on maybe 2 or 3 years ago now. Yeah, I used to have all the social media accounts when I was trying to promote that other channel. I had them all. I had the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Snapchat, a blog site. I had everything, and it was a lot trying to keep up with all those different things. I'm the type of person where I'm a perfectionist. I like to put 150% into everything it is that I do, and I love the fact that I know that I have one place here on YouTube. It's free to make an account. I can post pictures, videos, GIFs, live videos, chats, polls, things like that. I can post so many different things. It's kind of like having social media, honestly, being up here on YouTube. So, I love the fact that YouTube has done this, because it gives me an excuse to not have to make other social media accounts, because me personally, I'm just not that into it. I love the fact that I have been completely unplugged and out of the system for the last few years now. I know it probably sounds a little weird in 2019. I mean, literally when people ask me and they go, do you have social media? And I'm like, no. They're like, how do you live? How do you survive? And it's like, I don't know, I'm figuring it out, I guess. But no social media. That's not to say that I'll never make a social media account. I could wake up tomorrow and be like, I feel like being on the Instagram. But as far as this point in my life, as far as it goes right now, I'm just completely 1000% okay doing just YouTube, being up here. And I love the fact that you guys have one place that you can come to get all of my content, instead of like going to Twitter to get this, going to Instagram to get that. It's a one-stop shop, so oh yeah. And plus the fact that you guys will mention this sometimes. We don't know what to call you. We don't know your name. And I didn't even realize, I've never even introduced myself to you guys. My name is Hazel. That is my middle name. That only my very close family calls me by my first name. But Roseology is actually the name of my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. It is nice to officially meet you guys, or for you guys to officially meet me. I love the fact that I am up here and doing this now. I love the fact that I did all this work on my root chakra to finally get over this anxiety and to get more comfortable with being up here in front of you guys and talking about these different things that I feel are just very important and have been a huge focal point of my life for my entire life. Either I was completely running away from spirituality, or I've just completely deep dived into it. And so, spirituality has just been something that's been very prevalent in my life, especially with the household that I grew up in, with the mother that I have, the spiritual gifts that woman has. I've never seen anything like it. So, I'll be doing a video maybe later on where you guys can get to know me a little bit more. I don't really want to take up too much time in this video going over these types of things, but I did want to do a little bit of an introduction. This is my first time officially up here on camera in front of you guys. So basically, let's go ahead and get to this video, because the entire point of this video is all about the new moon in Capricorn, which is actually hitting today, December 26th. And as well as this is a solar eclipse. So this is the final new moon, the final solar eclipse of 2019 and of the decade before we start the new decades, the 2020 to 2030. And that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to be going over the astrological chart, and I will also be doing a tarot card reading. I have some cards pulled right here, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to be showing you guys the cards. I'll probably just be holding them up and just kind of casually talking about them. So it won't be a very in-depth reading, because I really want you guys, like I do in all my new and full moon videos, I really want you guys to take the cards and divine your own messages. I mean, we're getting ready for the next decade here. This message needs to speak to you. Okay, so like I said, check the timestamps in the comments and the description box down below to access different points and topics discussed in this video. I don't know how long this video is going to be, hopefully not too long, because I really do want to get it out to you guys today. I'm going to be talking a lot about the next year, 2020, that is coming up. exactly what it is that I'm seeing and feeling for that energy intuitively right now. So we have a lot to discuss, and let's just get to it, because you know what, it's time. So let's do this while I sip some tea. Okay, so now we are moving on to the astrological portion of this video. So let's go ahead and discuss Capricorn and Saturn, because this is the sign that the new moon is falling in. In order for you guys to really understand this video and the topics I'm going to be discussing in this video, we have to understand who Capricorn is, who Saturn is, and what the energy is that they bring to our life, that they bring to the collective. Capricorn is the zodiac sign, the constellation, who is depicted as the goat that makes it all the way to the tip top of this mountain by himself. Now, the interesting thing about the story of Capricorn is that Capricorn, he's a little goat, right? So he's frail, he's tiny. It's not like he has brute strength. It's not like he's super fast. It's not like he's this extraordinary being. But the thing that is spectacular about Capricorn is the fact that he can do what no one else can do. He's the only one that can make it to the top of this mountain, to the top of this summit. And I think that that says a lot about Capricorn, is that basically it's more so his mind instead of anything physical about him. It's more so his mind, his determination, his motivation, his focus, his drive. And if we're going to talk about Capricorn, we obviously have to talk about the ruler of Capricorn, which is Saturn. Now, this is a planet that everyone hates. Everyone hates Saturn. I understand why. I am a Cap rising myself, so that means that Saturn is my chart ruler, as well as Saturn is also in my first house. So I've always felt this like immense pressure from Saturn, where I've always felt this like just feeling like this little gray cloud just always sort of following me around. Not to say that he's evil or anything like that, because he's actually not. When I really started to learn astrology and I tapped into Saturn's energy, I encountered him in a completely different way. He has definitely a darker nature, a darker energy to him, but now I see him as one of my guides. I see him as like that tough, loving father. Let me also mention that I've done a pick a card reading on Saturn, because I like to bridge tarot and astrology together here on my channel. So I like to do different pick a card readings where I decipher your own birth chart. And so I did a pick a card reading for Saturn where I interpret the energy that Saturn brings into your life. So even if you don't know your Saturn placement, even if you don't have your birth chart, you can still check out that pick a card. I will link it down below for you guys in the description. But basically everybody hates Saturn because Saturn is the god. He is the ruler of discipline, challenges, and fears. But when we think about discipline, challenges, and fears, what is that necessarily? It is basically karma. Saturn is karma. Saturn is you get what you give. And this is why people don't like Saturn, because people do not like dealing with their own consequences. When I see discipline, I think of sacrifice. I think of the fact that I want a certain outcome, so I'm going to make certain sacrifices to get to that outcome. Like if you want to get in shape, you're going to have to be disciplined about what it is that you're eating. As far as the challenges go that I believe Saturn rules, I believe that the sacrifices that we make when it comes to discipline also correlates to the challenges that Saturn is said to rule, because sacrifices are not easy to make. It's really difficult to stay away from that chocolate cake. It's really difficult to wake up in the morning an hour earlier just so you can get to the gym or get an exercise out of the way or cook a healthy meal or get your mind right. You know what I mean? Like these are things that we have to be disciplined to and committed to. And when it comes to the fears that Saturn rules, I believe that that fear stems from a lack of discipline and those challenges and sacrifices that we have to encounter. And I believe that people that have heavy Capricorn Saturn energy in their charts have felt this in some capacity. They have felt some sort of karma or weight or pressure on them. And that's the pressure of Saturn. He puts you face to face with repercussions, your repercussions, my repercussions, our repercussions. Who likes dealing with that, right? So, and repercussions, karma, they're all the same thing. And when I talk about karma, I don't mean the generalized sense of karma. Like people have really demonized and generalized karma as if she only has one face, as if she only has one job. A lot of people like to kind of say like, if someone pisses them off, well, karma's a bitch. First of all, no, karma's not a bitch. She's your outcome. Second of all, karma is a reaction. She is a reaction to your actions. She has nothing to do with just like the bad side of karma. Karma doesn't even see herself as bad. She doesn't see herself as good. She just sees herself as what is, you know? Karma is just a mirror. She is a reflection. She is a reflector. She is going to bounce back the same energy to you that you are putting out. So she is everything. She's a reaction to every single action of yours. Like, for instance, if you eat poorly, that could lead to health issues. Is health issues a bad thing? No, it's just a reaction to your actions. When we are dealing with Capricorn, who is ruled by Saturn, who is ruled by this karma and consequences, this frail little goat Capricorn, he makes it to the top of that mountain because it is a what? It is a consequence of his actions. It is a consequence of his thoughts. He decides, I'm going to make it to the top of that mountain. I'm going to make it there. So him making it there is a consequence. It is a reaction to his actions. Because he's decided to make that climb to the top of that mountain, there's certain consequences to that. There's certain risks he's going to have to take. It's dangerous terrain trying to climb a mountain. It's lonely as all hell, and he doesn't have a map. He doesn't have a GPS. He doesn't have the steps laid out. So he has to figure all these things out on his own. And he's going through this very risky, lonely experience because he's just driven off of his want, his need, his actions. All he has is his want or need to climb. That's it. That's all Capricorn has. That is all he is fueled off of. And so Saturn, who is that karma, who is that consequence, is the mountain in the story of Capricorn. That is what Capricorn, that is what this frail little goat is climbing. He is climbing his own karma. He is climbing his own repercussions. He is climbing his own consequences. And that is the same thing it is that we have to do, especially when we are in Capricorn season, is we have to climb a mountain of our own choices, of our own actions. Every little action we make, no matter how redundant, no matter how mundane, no matter how normalized we have made it, every single action it is that we make, we have to later on encounter in some capacity. That is exactly why no one else is mentioned in the story of Capricorn. Capricorn understands that I am the only one that is responsible for the height, difficulty, and risk factor of the climb that I have to make to get to the top and to get to the other side of that mountain. He understands that it is only his responsibility. So Saturn and Capricorn, they are very internally focused because they prioritize taking responsibility for their own actions. They prioritize accountability more than anything. Every single day, I am making certain actions and decisions and choices that are constructing this mountain. So I am the one that is responsible to the height, risk factor, and difficulty of that climb. That is what people don't like about Saturn. And this is why Saturn gets such a bad rep or such a mean rep, is because most people aren't living up to their own potential, and Saturn reveals that. And that's why Saturn is so cold, because he is the truth. The truth is very cold. The truth, when it comes to the truth, there's no feelings considered. It's like when you look at a glass of water, you don't see it as mean or nice. It's just water. It's just what it is. That's the same thing with the truth. It's the same thing with Saturn. The universe never puts more on us than what we are able to or ready to handle. It's all up to us at the end of the day. We are given this free will by the Most High, by God. We're given that free will to decide if we want to make that climb. We don't have to. But if you want to get to the other side, if you want to progress, it's very necessary. You have to. That's the trade-off there. And this is why when people experience their Saturn return around 28 to 30 years old, and Saturn return just means that Saturn, the planet Saturn, has returned to the place in the sky that it was in at the moment that you were born. And when we experience a Saturn return, that's when a lot of people get more serious about their life. Around age 28 to 30, especially here in America, when people hear the age 30, they start shivering like, ooh, 30, it's like, oh shit, I'm turning 30. For me personally, I had my Saturn return. I'm 28. My birthday's in May. Like I said, I'm a Taurus, May 18th. My Saturn return, like I said, I've always felt the pressure of Saturn my entire life. So for me, it didn't feel any different. But the one thing that I will say changed completely when I hit my Saturn return, it was like a switch flipped. My savings has never been more on fleek than what it is right now. And I know it's because of my Saturn return. I was just like, you know what? I'm sick of not having a savings. I'm sick of looking at my bank account and either crying or getting depressed. Like, I don't want that anymore. Like, I want to look in my bank account and get happy and feel safe and feel secure and feel loved. I definitely do know that it came from my Saturn return. And this is what happens when your Saturn returns in your life. It applies pressure to certain areas and aspects in your life where it brings that focal point to you where it's like, okay, this is what it is that you're doing wrong, or these are the actions and the decisions that you've been making that have led you to this outcome, to this point, to where you are unhappy or happy or comfortable or uncomfortable. So he's just going to reveal to you your potential. He's going to reveal to you what it is that you've been doing and the actions and decisions that you've been making and why it is that you are where you are at. And a lot of people cannot handle that truth. Okay, so now that we understand this Capricorn and Saturn energy, let's go ahead and take a look at the astrological chart for this new moon happening in the sign of Capricorn and how this is helping to build up to this energy of 2020. Yeah, so there is a very interesting concentration of energy that is going on in Capricorn right now. And Jupiter just moved into the sign of Capricorn. I also did a Jupiter reading, a pick a card Jupiter reading, where I interpret your natal Jupiter energy and see how that energy plays out in your life. I will also link that down below. You guys can check that out as well. But in that video, I really talked a lot about how Jupiter is very expansive. He's the biggest planet in our solar system. And the same thing goes for his personality and his energy. He's bigger, larger than life. And so Jupiter is all about expansion, but the sign he moved into is Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by who? Saturn. Saturn is contraction. So Jupiter is expansion and Saturn is contraction. So these are two very different energies interacting with each other. And Saturn is also in the sign of Capricorn. Like I said, there's a very big concentration of energy in Capricorn. But Jupiter is like, I describe him as like moving a magnifying object or moving a magnifying glass over an object. It's just going to blow everything up. And that's exactly what Jupiter does. So as Jupiter is moving through your birth chart, as he is moving through the heavens, he is just expanding things. He's blowing them up. He's making them bigger. Doesn't necessarily always mean good luck, like a lot of people sort of say. It just means he's expanding it. So this could really kind of mean anything depending on a lot of different factors. Let's go ahead and briefly talk about what exactly a new moon is. When we talk about a new moon, that means that the moon is in conjunction with the sun. Conjunction means that two planets, two celestial bodies are sitting particularly close to each other. They're sitting within about 8 degrees of each other. When the moon is sitting close to the sun, she's invisible. And I always see that as during a new moon, when she's invisible like that, I see that as the moon pouring herself into the sun. I see her sacrificing herself, giving all of her light, giving all of her energy to the sun. So she's a lot more passive and docile and fertile during this time because she's completely emptied herself into the sun by the time that the new moon comes. And the moon represents our subconscious, our instincts, our emotions. The sun is our ego. And when I say ego, I just mean the way that you identify with yourself. You may be a person that says, I like this and I don't like that. That is your ego. That is your sun sign. That is your consciousness. Okay. And this is why so many ancient civilizations worshipped the sun, because that was the one and only thing that was constant and consistent from birth until death. From the beginning of time, from the beginning of the earth, the sun has been rising in the east and setting in the west. But the moon, on the other hand, she changes and she goes through visible changes. Every single day she changes a little bit more. Either she's growing brighter or she's going darker. And she changes her shape. She changes her color. She changes her intensity. Everything about her is very changeable. And this is why she represents our emotions, our internal self, because our emotions, they change from day to day, time to time, moment to moment, experience to experience. During the new moon, she's emptied all of her energy into the sun, and this is what makes her very fertile during the new moon. This is why a lot of people like to set intentions during the new moon, because she's empty right now. And what it is that she's doing after the new moon is she's going to start to, almost like a vacuum, just sort of consume all the energy around her. And so that the way when she gets to the full moon, like I said, she's very big, bright, bold in the sky. So new moons are particularly pretty quiet, but this new moon in particular to me feels very, very, very quiet, even more quiet than usual. And it feels like to me that the moon is almost being briefed on the next step. It's almost like she's taking this time to prepare. She's taking this time to get equipped. This is, like I said, the moon is our subconscious. It's our emotions. It's our instincts. So I'm seeing this as a time where our subconscious and our emotions are preparing themselves for the next step ahead. And this is why I was saying in the beginning of the video, the fact that the government and society really pushes us out of our house, go do this for this loved one, go do that for that loved one, buy this, buy that, do this, do that. This is a time where we're supposed to be quiet. We're supposed to be preparing. We're supposed to be getting ready for the next step. And it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. But be careful about falling into these trends, you guys. If your body is feeling like, I can't do it, I can't make it to this person's house, I can't do this, I can't do that, listen to yourself and take that time. Our body is instinctively coded to take this time of relaxation and rest and retrospect. We're emotionally and subconsciously preparing, planning, getting ready to make that climb, but now we are ready. We have been, over the last 10 years, especially over 2019, we have been mentally and emotionally sculpted, almost like out of clay, for this next step, for this next decade. The one thing that we didn't have in the last 10 years, the one thing that we didn't have was preparation. And I know that might sound like preparation, like that's the gift that the universe gave us, is like preparation, but it's like preparation is a big thing, because when you are already ready, you don't have to get ready. You're already prepared. You can already see what's coming. Instead of getting hit like a ton of bricks like we've been doing the last 10 years, many of us, we've just been getting hit left and right without seeing these things coming before they actually hit us, before they actually like knock into us. We haven't been seeing them. It's just been these like stabs in the back. It's been these random things just sort of coming into our life and knocking us down, knocking us over, throwing us off track. But now so many of us, if you've been doing the work, so many of us are prepared. We're ready. We can see. We are equipped now. If you have taken all the lessons that you've gone through in the last 10 years, especially in 2019, and you've literally learned from it, instead of getting knocked over by it, but you've learned from it, even if you did get knocked over by it, stand the hell up and learn from it. What did you get out of that? Don't look at what you lost. Do not focus on what you lost. We're going to lose a lot of things in this life. That's something that you have to sort of get thick skin for. This life is all about loss, lessons, sacrifices. It's also about beauty, creation, things coming into our life. That everything is in a flow. So things are going to flow into your life and they're going to flow right back out. And we have to get used to that entire process. For me personally, 2016 was the hardest year. It was the hardest year. I can think of 3 moments in my entire life that were very traumatizing for me. In 2016, it made me deal with all my other traumas from the rest of my life. A lot of pain that I had just suppressed. I pushed it all down. And I thought that I dealt with it because it wasn't there, because I pushed it down. But what it did was it propelled me into my dark night of the soul. It propelled me into the depths of hell. And that was a lot of time getting acquainted with my shadow. That was a lot of time. I remember saying for the longest time during that period, like, I feel like I'm in hell. I feel like I'm being tormented every single day. And I look back on that now and I am so thankful and appreciative to God, to the universe, for making me go through that, because it pushed me. It challenged me. You can get through whatever it is that the universe puts on you. I'm not talking about the pain that others inflict on you. That's something completely different. That's something completely different. You guys know how I am up here. I believe that light and darkness is the same thing. I believe that there's a light and a dark, and both of those serve the same purpose. They serve the same master. And then I believe that there's just plain evil. Darkness does not mean evil, you guys. It does not mean evil. Different topic for a different day. I might actually do an entire video on that, because it's yeah, I'll leave that for later. But anyways, when I got into the worst part of my dark night of the soul, I had given up. I definitely had given up. I told God, like, if you don't want me to give up, you're going to have to come in here and save me, because I'm done. I never knew that the universe loved me that much. I never knew God loved me that much to respond to that. Because something bigger than me came in and showed me, hey, I love you. It made me go, if you love me, why the hell don't I love myself? And that was kind of like the message that I got there, was like, something bigger than you loves you. You love you. Learn how to love yourself, because the universe out here is rocking with you. So why aren't you doing that for yourself? Why aren't you protecting yourself? I'd allowed so many different influences and people in my life to come into my life, stab me in the back. I ignored so many red flags, and I was in so much pain because of that. I blamed myself for being stupid and naive, for not knowing that people were the way that they were. And then I started to turn in on myself because I had allowed that to happen. It's almost like I became a part of that feeding frenzy and I stopped protecting myself. I will never allow that to happen, because it's like, I've been through the mud. What can you do to me? And so many of you guys have been through some sort of similar situation like this in the last 10 years. And that's how I want you guys to see this going ahead, going forward. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not saying 2020 is an easier year. I'm just seeing us being more prepared, more mentally, emotionally, spiritually prepared, more equipped. Capricorn, he accepts the fact that he is the only one responsible for how high that mountain is, how risky it is, how difficult, and how dangerous it is. He's the only one that says, you know what, that is on me. And we have to do the same thing. And I think that that is such a beautiful energy to walk into 2020 with, is to say, you know what, I don't care what anyone else has done. You don't matter when it comes to that. How it is that I treat myself is my responsibility, not yours. We are put here to make mistakes. So don't ever put your heart, your mind, your energy, your soul, that's something that's sacred and it's invaluable. It is priceless. Don't ever put these things, these gifts, into the hands of another human being, because human beings are here solely to fuck up. Sometimes it's intentional, other times it's not. But as long as you don't put your being into their hands, it doesn't even matter. 2019 was really all about preparing us for this next step. It was all about epiphanies, awakenings, resonance, seeing something, hearing something, meeting someone and connecting to them. It was all about going right back into the self, meeting someone and somehow they unlock some sort of knowledge or wisdom within you, hearing something, seeing something, and somehow it unlocks, it triggers, or it taps into an internal well of knowledge and wisdom that you already had. 2019 was all about breaking us down to rebuild us. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next astrological placement here. The moon is sitting close to Saturn in the south node. The south node is an access point on our moon, on Earth's moon, and it represents the southern axis point to the moon. There's a south and a north node. The south node represents where it is that you've come from. So that could be your past life, your earlier life, your childhood. If you believe in reincarnation, it's your past lives. The north node focuses on where it is that you are going in this life, or where it is that you're supposed to be going or focused on in this incarnation. The south node, like I said, it shows you your past. So the south node can show you a lot of different patterns and cycles that you may be predisposed to. So if you've ever wondered why, my grandparents went through this, my parents went through this, and now I'm going through something similar. And so when we look at where we're coming from, it's very easy to sort of see where we're going. If you keep eating fast food, it's very easy to see that possibly some sort of health issues could be your future. So with the moon sitting close to the south node in Saturn, she's using the past to view the next step, to view where it is that we're going. And that's why she's taking this really quiet, sacred time right now. And so she's kind of taking a look at the future by taking a look at the past. And so right now, subconsciously, you may be seeing and encountering a lot of different things that sort of reminds you of your past, that puts you back in a place, that reminds you of a cycle, that reminds you of something that feels familiar, or it could just be something that keeps popping up. And that's because it's trying to get your attention. It's trying to get you to realize, like, this is where you are going. Okay. So you may be kind of very focused on that right now. A lot of people are when it comes to the end of the year, though. She's using the past to see how difficult this climb, this mountain is going to be. But just observe it, remove yourself from that ego conscious point of view. Don't tether yourself to it. Don't become it. Don't become your past. Don't become those emotions. Don't become those feelings that you're observing. Just observe them. We've all been in our own story, in our own tale of Capricorn the last 10 years. And right now what it is that we're doing is we are embracing that inner Capricorn, because we are looking at the truth of our actions. And if you have been doing the work, and if you are somebody that is brutally ready to take a look in the mirror, you're going to look at your past actions and you are going to use that as constructive criticism. Like, okay, well, did I like that outcome? Did I like the way that this turned out? How did this make me feel? Was it healthy for me? Was it good for me? Did I learn anything? Did this benefit me in any way, shape, or form, or was this counterproductive to what it is that I'm trying to do? So use this time as constructive criticism to escape what I call the gravitational pull of your past, of these cycles, of these patterns. And this is how we take that pen into our own hands and we write or control our own narrative. Because there is a right and a wrong way to view our past. Like, take a planet that goes retrograde, for instance. When a planet goes retrograde, it looks, from the perspective of planet Earth, it looks as if the planet is going backwards, when in reality, the planet just starts to slow down. It stops going as fast and it starts to slow down. But when a planet goes retrograde in the sky, that momentum that it had trailing it, it has to go somewhere when it starts to slow down and when it comes to a stop. And where it goes is that planet is the one that decides to ingest, to consume that momentum. And there's data points in that momentum that was trailing that planet. And those data points is telling that planet, This is the path that you've journeyed so far. This is where you've come from. And the planet takes all that information, and what it does is it metabolizes it, and it takes certain nutrients from that journey, from that past, from where it has come from. And the other things that it doesn't need, it disposes of it. It returns it back to the universe. It becomes a part of that flow, that cycle. And so that planet takes all of that momentum, digests it, uses it as fuel, uses that as nutrients to start moving once again. And this is exactly how we need to look at the past. We need to see our past as momentum. We need to see it as data points. We need to see it as something that we can look back and say, okay, well, what did I learn from this? This was a lesson. This was an experience. This was an encounter. What can I learn from this? What nutrients can I take from my past and use it as fuel to move forward in my future? It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel all of these emotions. It's okay to feel these bad emotions. That's a process. It's a process that our being has to go through. That is what really stops a lot of people. That's what creates diseases in the body. That is these blockages of energy. Energy is not meant to be blocked. It's not meant to be contained. It needs to keep flowing and moving. So anytime we stop and we block energy, we do something that goes completely against the natural order. And this is when the bad chaos, the shadow side of chaos, the chaos that works against you, starts to form. The natural order of things is to flow, is to keep going. So when we try to stop something, it's like stopping up a drain. There's going to be a lot of shit that gets stuck in your sink. It's going to start to rot. That's literally what happens to energy. It starts to rot and it starts to spread into your life, because that is energy's way of saying, let me go. Let me go. Do yourself a favor and let me go, so I can let you go. One good way that I've really found to banish certain patterns and cycles, toxicity out of my life, is to charge them. To literally charge them. We're visual creatures, right? So we need to visualize our actions. We need to be able to realize them. So you have to be able to convert energy, thoughts, and emotions into something physical, into something tangible, into something that you can interact with. So anytime you have, like, let's say, for instance, one of your New Year's resolutions is, I want to stop having self-defeating thoughts. I want to stop thinking negatively. Then every time after the new year that you have a self-defeating or a self-deprecating or a negative thought, you need to charge yourself somehow. Pinch yourself, cut your hair, charge yourself money. You need to apply real tangible consequences to them. Whatever it is that means for you, whatever sort of taxing system works for you, but you need to put yourself in a tax system. Every time I do this, I get charged that. And make sure you're charging yourself something that you really don't want to pay. I promise you, eventually you will stop. With those types of ramifications, you're going to stop eventually, because it's not fun. You're going to put yourself into a place where it's like, I can't keep affording this. I can't keep paying this. So you'll become more aware of it when you're dealing with ramifications instead of just having a negative thought. We can ignore thoughts and emotions because they're invisible. They're not tangible. So we need physical consequences in order to respect them. Sometimes we do, and that's okay to admit. And so you'll become aware of it, because we're visual beings, we're visual creatures, we're physical creatures that react and respond quicker to irrefutable, indisputable truths. We respond to definite, to permanent consequences. The reason why we respond to things that are permanent is because why? We can't change it anymore. So when you're having your freedom of choice and of options stripped away, it's like, oh damn, this is a real serious consequence. Like one example, for instance, would be somebody that wakes up and goes to this job that they hate. Every single morning they have to push themselves out of the door to go to this job that they cannot stand because they have to pay their bills. So this is somebody that has to exert even more energy to do something because they don't want to do it. So somebody in this instance is probably more mentally drained from dealing with that job. And if they're mentally drained, you know that they're probably emotionally drained as well. And mental and emotional drain equals physical exhaustion. So how is that person going to deal with that when they get home? They're more than likely going to compensate with distractions instead of actual fuel. And why is that? Because distractions are easier. They're more convenient. Fuel takes even more energy that you do not have. Energy that you've been depleted of. So for instance, by the time that person gets off from work, they are so tired from dealing with this job that they can't stand, that instead of them actually replenishing their being, replenishing their body, they're probably going to reach for something like fast food or a microwavable dinner or a candy bar or something like that, versus getting into the kitchen and making a actual meal that's going to replenish their body because they're already so mentally drained. There's actually, I forget who says this, but there is someone who said that apparently a lot of the 1% and the billionaires of the world, they know this, but apparently we only work with a certain amount of really good decisions that we can make per day. This is why people in the 1% and billionaires, they say that they don't waste those good decisions on things like picking out an outfit for work or something like that, because they say that that is a waste of a good decision, because they are very aware of the fact that I only have a certain amount of good decisions that I can make per day before I enter into a place where my energy is starting to get depleted. But somebody that's not aware of something like this, they're probably going to reach for fast food or a candy bar, and you already know that that fast food or that candy bar is not going to replenish you. It's going to take even more from your body, because your body can't pull any real nutrients from a candy bar. Your body will pull more nutrients from a salmon and a side salad that you made at home with love and good energy. But if you're too tired, are you realistically going to do that? Probably not. So we're going to compensate with distractions instead of actual fuel. So I'm going to stay in this place of depletion. I'm going to stay in this free fall where I'm not replenishing myself. I'm going to stay in this deficit because I'm not aware of the fact that I'm also depleting. I'm also taking from myself. I'm not aware of that. So it's very, very important to listen to your body. Like I said in the beginning of this video, listen to your body. If your body is tired, listen to that, because a person that is tired or drained is much more tempted by convenience, by a distraction, by something where it's like, it's convenient, it's easy, I can just reach out, grab that candy bar and eat it. And that candy bar is going to give me a false sense of I'm full. It's going to give me that false sense, but my body isn't really pulling anything from it. So I'm going to be just as tired when I wake up tomorrow morning. I'm going to be even more drained. It's like this downward spiral. You just keep going further down and down and down and down and down, but you don't even realize it. You're just digging an even deeper hole. That is when we usually realize our own actions. When we have to deal with repercussions and consequences that are so bad we can't even see a way out, and you don't want it to get to that point. And if you are putting that salmon and that salad into your being, you're going to feel a little bit more energetic. Not only that, but you're putting good nutrients into your system. So now your body is able to have a little bit more fuel. You're able to have a little bit more energy. Now maybe you can make better decisions. Now maybe you can see ways out, because you have more energy to be able to see ways out. So it's very important that we get real food. That's what 2020 is really all about. It's all about being able to see clearly. 2020. Hindsight is 2020. I keep talking about retrograde, looking backwards, looking behind us to see where we're going. So many of us have been living in toxic, poisonous situations and conditions, eating candy bars, eating fast food. And I'm not talking about literally, I mean, even when it comes to our relationships, we're surrounding ourselves with people that's not actually giving us nutrients, but they're taking from us. We're surrounding ourselves with influences, with decisions, with behaviors, with lifestyles that's not giving us any real nutrients. It's taking from us. And then we look around and wonder why we're so tired. And the best way to change your life is to look at what it is you are doing. Like I said, there's no one else involved in the story of Capricorn, because he's only concerned with his actions. Because it's only his actions that he has control over. He doesn't have control over anyone else's actions, so they're irrelevant to him. But what he does have control over is what he focuses on. So many of us are focused on the wrong thing. We're focused on everything else. We're focused on the media. We're focused on celebrities. We're focused on family, friends, loved ones, focused on gossiping. We're focused on this one and that one and just drama. Like people that say that they sit back and they grab the popcorn when they see drama and scandal and things happening, I always look at them and go, why? I could never get entertainment off of someone else's downfall. I might look at it and go, damn, that's messed up, but I'm not going to sit and get I could care less. I need to be focused on making sure I'm not next. We got to focus on us. We need to be able to spot the difference between different things, so that the way we can see what actually has nutrients and what doesn't. And what the universe is saying is it is drawing a line in the sand, and it is saying, a lot of you have been asking to make this climb, to get to the top of this mountain. Now the line in the sand that the universe is making is saying, so this is about the people that say that they want it and the ones that actually do. Because there's a big difference. There's a lot of people that look up at the top of that mountain and they say, hey, wow, I would love to make it to the top of that mountain. I would love to get up there. There's a lot of people that's looking up there and they're going, yeah, one day that's going to be me, January 1st. Watch out. And then there's people that look at that mountain and they go, fuck that. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with my own consequences. And then there's others that see that mountain and they start celebrating. They start dancing. They start rejoicing because it's like, finally, I get my chance to make this climb. There are some of you out here that are hungry to make that climb, that are hungry to encounter their own consequences so they can finally move past it. So this is where we're at right now, moving into 2020. Into 2020, this is a 4 year. Right now, what we're doing is we're building momentum. We've been in our own retrograde period for all of 2019. I know there are a lot of people that are complaining about feeling stuck, feeling stagnant. That's because you were in your own retrograde moment. So as we're building this momentum after this period of retrograde and reflection, it's really important that we start fueling our beings with real nutrients to make that climb. Capricorn cannot make that climb on candy bars and microwave meals. He can't. He is going to make a bad decision eventually. And it's going to cost him a lot because now he's ascending, he's moving up, he's finally progressing. So whatever mistake he makes during this climb, it's going to cost him. So it's very important that we are fueling ourselves as much as humanly possible with nutrients, with the right food. And you don't have to worry about being able to tell what is real nutrients and what isn't, because the last 10 years have shown you that. It's shown you what's real and what's fake, what you can live off of, what you can survive off of, and what you can thrive off of. Even if you haven't been aware the last 10 years, you can stop right now. You can pause this video right now, take a moment in time to just stop and think, where have I been? Even if I didn't learn from it, where have I been? What have I gone through? That right there is enough to show you what has been real nutrients in your life and what hasn't. All you have to do is just reflect. That's it. So another really interesting aspect I want to talk about here, astrological placement here, is the planet Mars, who is the planet of purpose, reason. He is the reason that we wake up in the morning and go to that job that we hate because it pays our bills. So Mars is the because. I am doing this because. That is why he is the god of war, because when you go to war, you're going to war. Why? Because you're fighting for a cause. You're fighting for a reason. You're fighting for something you believe in, for your purpose. So that is what Mars is. So when you think god of war, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, somebody that's like mean and always ready for a fight. No, it's just somebody that always has a purpose. That torch is always lit. That wand always has a flame at the end of it. So basically, Mars, who is that flame, he's our reason, he is our purpose, he is our because, he is in the sign of Scorpio. But basically, Scorpio in a general sense, I describe all of the water signs as Cancer as the ocean, Pisces is the ecosystem, he is the life, the fish living in that ocean, and Scorpio is the very bottom, the very depths of that ocean. He is where things go black and fish look weird. They've got their own lights, even that it's so dark down there. It is our unconscious. It is our emotional unconscious space. Scorpio is the one that was like, he was born, he was birthed, he was conceived in this sort of unconscious, scary, dark energy. And the unconscious brain is, I always describe it as the shadow. And the shadow is kind of like the trash bin on your computer. The trash bin is a place where you throw all these things away that you don't need anymore, right? And that is kind of what we've done throughout life. We have thrown away certain aspects and characteristics and parts of ourselves that the people rejected. So this is a place that is full of pain, guilt, shame, rejection, remorse, anger. The unconscious brain is the part of the brain that we do not identify with. Like I said, the conscious is like the sun, it's your ego, it's how you identify. The unconscious is how you do not identify. You don't even see yourself as this. So this is a really scary, scary place for a lot of people, and Mars is just sitting in it. Our purpose, our reason, our because. I'm seeing this as a time where we can be easily triggered, especially by people that we know. This is a time where we may feel more attacked, more vulnerable, more exposed than usual. We may be feeling like we don't know why we're doing certain things, why we're reacting to certain things, why we're feeling this pressure, why we're feeling a certain amount of fear, why we are encountering fear. So some of you might feel very ready for this new year and ready to make this climb and ready to make this next step, but you may also be feeling a sense of fear, and it's very confusing, unsettling for a lot of people, because they're like, I'm so excited about this next step. Why am I feeling so afraid? And that's because our reason right now is sitting in this unconscious space. Right now is a perfect time for people to be doing shadow work, internal work, things like that. And as well as to be very careful to not make decisions based off of your shadow if you do not know your shadow. If anything sort of just comes to your brain impulsively, do not make that decision just yet. And the next and final placement that I want to cover is Uranus, the planet Uranus, another planet that people really hate because they say that Uranus is the planet of disruption, of chaos, of all these different things. And in my opinion, Uranus is the planet, he's the energy of the individual. He's this inner rebel. He's this natural, instinctive individual. He wants to do what he wants to do. And I used to hate Uranus as well until I started to to really love him. I love him so much now. And he's also sitting on the cusp of my ascendant sign, but he's in the sign of Taurus, and he's also retrograde. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is all about values. I've talked about her a lot. She rules all these things that makes life worth living, the things that we value about life. We value beauty, we value money, we value sex, we value the things that make this life an experience instead of just an existence, basically. So Taurus really loves feeling comfortable surrounded by their own values, surrounded by the things it is that they love, that they see as valuable. Okay, you guys, so I apologize. My camera battery died. I had to stop, recharge it, start filming again. But yeah, anyway, so Uranus being in Taurus at the time of the solar eclipse and this new moon in Capricorn, I am seeing this as many of us being so depleted and in such a deficit that we are actually asking and reaching for what is good for us and for what is healthy for us. We are actually asking and reaching for that salmon and that side salad versus that candy bar, that fast food meal. Because, every now and then, we like to indulge a little bit. Every now and then we like to have dessert or an extra drink or two. Or, we reach for that candy bar because we're really craving something sweet. Sometimes we're craving the unhealthy things, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you do it in moderation. But now at this point in time, I'm actually seeing people in such a deficit and at such a detrimental point that people are actually reaching for that salmon and that side salad. This is a time where people are saying, I need what's healthy for me. I need what's good for me. I don't care what I have to sacrifice. I don't care what I need to say goodbye to. I need what is good for me. I need what is healthy for me. I've been beat up for too long. I've gone through too much. I've experienced and I have endured too damn much. Where is a salmon? Where is a salad? But like I said, now I'm seeing us with Uranus and Taurus here. I'm just seeing us being at such a deficit that we're like, give me what is good for me. Give me what is real nutrients. Now we have this new appreciation. We have this newfound respect for what is healthy. Very many of us have sort of grown out of that mindset of, what is healthy for me is too easy, or it's boring, or it's this, or it's that. A lot of us have matured in that way where it's like, no, I want what is good for me. That comes with age, that comes with maturity, that comes with wisdom when you are reaching for the salad instead of the candy bar. And once you have been through enough in your life, that's when you start to look at it for what it is and go, there's no actual substance in that candy bar. With Uranus being in Taurus here, there's a real question being asked right now to all of us, thanks to Uranus. He's asking if we are happy where we are at right now or not. How do you feel? Are you happy? Do you feel good? Do you feel healthy? Uranus is quieting all of the outside noise right now, and he is getting it very still. And he is saying, are you happy? This is a check-in with you, with your values, with what you feel is a life that is worth living. January 1st is coming back up. I say this every year about January 1st, that gems are going to be making a killing on January 1st because people are so pumped up and they are ready to separate from their old life. People are just so ready for real nutrients. But this is going to be the general overall energy and feeling, the subconscious feeling of all of 2020 that we're going to be sort of enveloped in. It's like, I want what's real. I want to fill my being. We're all going to be feeling that pressure, but the people that are really working on themselves are going to be aware of what that pressure is. And they're going to know that all that pressure is doing is it's forming them into a diamond. 2020 is going to really teach us how to create our own momentum, how to progress and move forward on our own, to come out of our own retrograde period. This is all about standing up and stabilizing yourself. Like I said, this is a 4-year. 2020 reduces to a 4. The vibration of the number 4 is stability, like 4 legs on a table. 2019 that we just came out of was a 3-year. 3 is all about what? It's all about the womb, creation, life, Empress energy. I saw 2019 as a lot of people, like I said, we were in a retrograde period. So a lot of people felt stuck or stagnant or just sort of still. And that's because we were literally in the womb. We were in the womb. We were in our own cocoon, being transformed, being sculpted. And now at the end of 2019, we are coming out of that cocoon, completely transformed, completely renewed, completely reborn. And now it's all about stabilizing this new version of ourselves. That's basically what this is about. This energy is setting us up for. And the very last astrological placement that I want to talk about is Mercury. Mercury is the god or the ruler of the mind and communication. I see Mercury as a deliverer. He delivers information from one source to the next. That's kind of what Mercury is. He's kind of like this gatekeeper of the other side, of being able to transmit information. Mercury ruling the mind, being the deliverer of information. He is in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius, I talked about in that video how he is the archer. That's what he is depicted as. He's the archer. That bow represents potential. It represents this is an area, this is how far we can go. This is what we are able to do. This is what is possible. So Sagittarius connects us to potential. And I am seeing this as a really good thing with Mercury being in Sagittarius at this time of the new moon, because Mercury, who, like I said, he rules the mind, he is going to be keeping us focused. Very focused on the top of that mountain, whatever that goal is. Fill in the blank for whatever the top of that mountain looks like for you. Mercury is going to be keeping our eye very focused on that, keeping our mind very focused on it, keeping our expression very focused on it. One way that we really express ourselves as human beings is through what? Communication. That's what Mercury rules. So Mercury also rules expression. So Mercury is going to keep us very focused, very situated on our potential, on our purpose, on the reason that we are making the climb, on the reason that we're taking all of these risks. It's going to keep us motivated to push through all of our fears, to push through all of those challenges, because a living being needs purpose. Without purpose, it's very difficult for us to encounter all these different challenges and sacrifices and obstacles if we don't have a purpose. Why are we going through all these different things if it's for no reason? We're not going to do that, right? No one in their right mind would do that. So yeah, basically for just an overall general 2020, to just go on ahead and shut down 2020, the thing that I'm really seeing we're going to be mostly focusing on is the nutrients. What is real nutrients for us? What is actually going to replenish our body? What is actually going to fuel us with the right fuel, with the right energy, with the right momentum to do what it is that we need to do? And this is why, I've been hearing a lot of people sort of talk about, and I want to make sure I say this correctly, but I've been hearing a lot of people sort of talk about like people doing things, I guess spirituality sort of gaining a trend, right? I know there's a lot of celebrities and stuff sort of turning like religious or spiritual, and spiritual community has been blowing up over the last few years. And I know a lot of people have been talking about, well, certain people might just be doing this for money, or might just be doing it for this reason or that reason, or whatever the case. Please be inspired by the story of Capricorn, okay? I never tell you guys what to do on my channel. I like to just put information out there and allow you to take it and do with it what you will. But allow yourself to be inspired by the story of Capricorn, by the fact that he is the only person involved in that story. Do not tether yourself to any celebrity, to any person on YouTube, myself included, anybody. Don't attach yourself to anyone. The people in your life, the friends in your life, the loved ones in your life, your lover, I don't care who it is, don't attach yourself to anyone. And this is why I've said on my channel so many times, I never want you guys to see me as a healer. You will never hear it come out of my mouth that I consider myself to be a healer, a priestess, I don't know, whatever the case, not even a tarot reader. That's just not a label that I'm willing to claim, because one thing is for certain is I'm a human. And like I told you guys earlier in my video, people come here to this planet to mess up. We are going to disappoint. We are going to drop the ball. So let's just say that you take a celebrity, somebody's really inspired you to become more spiritual. If you start to look at them as more than just a vessel of inspiration, but as the inspiration, if they drop the ball, when they drop the ball, because they are human, they're going to drop the ball. When they drop the ball, what does that mean for your healing? What does that mean for your confidence, for your self-love, for your support? For anything it is that you have gained from this person? What does it mean? You don't want to live off of the applause of people or the hate of people. Some people, they love working with hate and working with that chip on their shoulder because it pushes them. But you don't want to survive off of any sort of external source. You want to find your own internal source, your own internal well, because when you find an internal well, it's infinite. And so if you attach your spirituality, your religion, your faith to another person, and that person drops the ball, what does that mean for your faith? Don't see them as the inspiration. You can be inspired by them, but don't mistake it. They are not the inspiration. The inspiration is coming from something you can't see, and that's how the universe works. The universe works through us. That's why we are vessels. That's what the Hierophant is. It doesn't matter what someone else is doing with their own personal life. It doesn't matter if the people that you see in spirituality are doing it for money. First of all, like I said, you've been through enough. You're going to be able to tell who's really about it and who's not. If another person, if another anything is able to move your faith or to move you in any way, shape, or form, that is Saturn trying to reveal to you that your foundation is weak. That's not real faith. That's not real spirituality. Spirituality is all about a connection, your own connection. Be inspired by the story of Capricorn, because that's the year that we're moving into for 2020. This is all about what you can do. You stabilizing yourself. You don't ever want one of those four legs on the table to be propped up by something or someone else. Stabilize yourself, okay? The truth will come out. It's not our job to be the truth. Karma's going to do that. God's going to do that. Saturn's going to do that. We don't need to do that. All right, so now that I have said my piece on that, let's go on ahead and move into the tarot portion of this video. We're obviously going to be doing the meditation and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to include a picture, a shot of the cards here, face down for right now. That the way you guys can just focus on meditating on the cards and things like that, tapping into this energy. And then what we're going to do is just jump straight into the reading. And like I said, I'm going to be briefly going over the cards, and then I'm going to leave you cards with cards facing up, face side up, facing up. So that the way you guys can divine your own messages from the cards, okay? So let's go on ahead and get started with that meditation. You guys, and the very first card is the King of Cups in reverse. And this is such an interesting card to be the first card to pull for this tarot spread here. And I'm just looking down at the cards. This feels a lot like closing up your heart, and not in a bad way, not in a way where you're just like saying like screw emotions, you know, not like that, but just in a way where it's like right now I'm not listening to my heart. And I'm not listening to my mind. But right now what I'm actually doing is I'm closing up this other vessel, this other part of myself that is tapped into a completely different source. I need to quiet my heart so I can just focus on what the truth is. Like I was telling you guys, the truth does not consider feelings. It just is what it is. It's like trying to ask water an opinion of itself. And it's just what it is. The same thing that I'm seeing with this King of Cups right here in reverse is this is all about quieting the heart. Quieting the heart so we can focus on the truth of what is. And the reason why the truth never involves emotions is because emotions muddy facts. That's all it does. It muddies the facts. It takes facts and it starts to twist them. It starts to warp them. Because when the truth gets delivered to us, let's just say by Mercury or something, when the truth comes into our life and it is delivered to us, we go through a process. We go through a mental and an emotional process of it, where we are taking that energy and we're digesting it and we're saying, well, we start factoring in all these other things because the mind and the heart is involved. Where instead of this person has done me wrong, well, it's because their family situation and they grew up like this. No, that is a reflection of their integrity. It's a reflection of their being, of their person, of their mindset, of their maturity levels. You know, that was just an example, not saying that that's what I'm saying or anything. It was just an example. But, you know, we a lot of the times will take the truth and we will warp it to sort of fit our narrative or to sort of help process what it is that we're emotionally feeling. The next card that we have here is the King of Swords in reverse. And the fact that the King of Swords came up also in reverse after the King of Cups, and I was talking about how the truth, how the heart and the mind muddies the truth, and we have both kings, King of Cups, King of Swords in reverse. I do not pick these cards. They just jumped out as I was shuffling. So I'm a little blown away right now. The King of Cups consults his heart when he rules, and the King of Swords consults his logic when he rules. Both of these kings in reverse are telling me, because I feel like they kind of came as a pair with these cards today. Both of these kings in reverse are telling me, don't have expectations or an idea about what the truth is. Be careful with the heart and the mind. Be very, very careful with the heart and the mind, because like I've been saying this entire video, the truth does not consider feelings, and it also doesn't consider our mental processes either. It doesn't consider either of those things. It just is what it is. So when we involve these two guys, the cups and the swords, we are involving things that have nothing to do with the truth. So now you're adding external things that's not going to help the truth. If anything, you don't want to involve anything else. You don't want to take away. You don't want to add to the truth. You just want to accept it, observe it for what it is. Say thank you and let it go. And this is coming through right now. I feel like somebody's been asking, I feel like somebody's really been contemplating something. Whoever this is resonating with, I feel like somebody has really been contemplating some sort of big move that's probably going to really change their life, drastically change their life. Things won't be the same, whether this is a relationship or money. I'm not exactly sure, but it seems like somebody is really contemplating. For both of these to come up reverse, the message that I'm getting here so very strongly is, do not allow your heart or your mind to tamper with the evidence, to tamper with the truth, the facts of the situation. Stay away from your heart and your mind. It's not helping you. It's only making the decision more difficult when you need to just look at the situation for what it is. Face value. What I'm seeing is what I'm getting. The next card that we have here is the Wheel of Fortune. So this is funny because the Wheel of Fortune, yeah, definitely something's definitely driving the point home to keep your heart and mind out of it. The Wheel of Fortune is the card that removes labels. It removes the labels of good and bad, because when we deal with the Wheel of Fortune, we are dealing with a card, we're dealing with an energy that is all about, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, but you never know what is up and what is down, because it's all working together. It's all working for your own good. It's all working towards evolution, the same purpose. So it's really hard to know what is good for you versus what is bad for you. And what is bad for you may actually be good for you. And what is good for you may just simply be that good for you. But everything at the end of the day is working towards, is moving towards that one purpose. So this card right here, the Wheel of Fortune, removes labels. It removes the good and the bad labels. It removes all types of labels, all types of stereotypes. It takes things out of these compartments that we put them into, and it just moves it into a space where it just is what it is. That is what the Wheel of Fortune card is all about. It just is what it is. Maybe you've gone through something difficult. It just is what it is, because maybe you'll see a few months or a few years from now that was the best thing that could have ever happened to you. And that is what the Wheel of Fortune talks about. It's a whole wheel. It's a whole system that's in play. And it's not just good and bad things. It's a whole system. And a lot of that system we really don't understand. A lot of that system we can't even see. We're only living a fraction of the reality that exists out here in the universe. Just a fraction of it. And it's all a part of the same system. So it's not necessarily about good and bad. It's just about the system, the movement, the wheel of life, the wheel of existence, the wheel of purpose. And then also as well, we have the 4 fixed beings of the zodiac that are around this wheel, that are situated around this wheel. And that is Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. And you know what these 4 fixed signs are showing? They're showing what? Stability, momentum, self-stabilization is momentum, is movement. When you can stabilize yourself, you're moving. A lot of people think that fixed signs mean that they're still, they're rigid, they don't move, when in fact, a fixed sign means it's fixed, it's constant, it's consistent. So if it's moving at 50 miles an hour, it'll stay at 50 miles an hour. If you reduce it to 2 miles an hour, it'll stay at 2 miles an hour. If you stop it, it'll stay stopped. So this is that momentum of energy that we're building that I was talking about, but instead we are doing it without the influence of our heart and mind. we're finally agreeing and willing to move along with the universe instead of getting dragged along by the universe. Because that's the thing. The universe is going to keep progressing. It's going to keep moving. We're the only species that really gets stopped because of our own emotions, because of our heart and mind. We can have self-defeating thoughts that completely keep us from moving. The fact that thoughts and emotions can stop physical movement is crazy to me. It's crazy. And I've been doing it my entire life, where it's like I'll think a thought and I won't do something. So this is us building that momentum and now not being fazed by the mind or the heart anymore, because we've been through the last decade. We've survived it. We're still here. We have learned, or at least we have become aware of the fact that our heart and mind have played a lot into the reality that we live today, the reality that we have stabilized. That's profound. That's huge. That's really big. So now that we know that, now we are willing to just move along with the universe, to walk alongside of it instead of getting dragged by it, instead of getting knocked over, ran over, and then dragged by it. The universe is going to keep moving. We're the only ones that usually kind of choose to stop moving. I don't want to progress. I don't want to move on. I don't want to move on from this. I'm pissed off at that. I'm angry about this. I feel this sort of way, or I'm so sad. I'm grieving. I don't want to move. Take your time. Retrograde. Take your time. And then start moving again. The next card that we have here is the Moon in reverse. Yeah, we're no longer confused. There's no more illusions anymore. There's no more confusion. The heart and the mind, there's no more confusion. The moon represents this dark place. Not necessarily scary, but it's unknown. It's unfamiliar. It's unfamiliar territory. We're not necessarily sure where we're at because it's dark out. It's really, really dark. There's wolves howling. It's like, we don't know what the hell is going on. Now, when the sun comes back out, we're going to be able to see all this. It's not as scary. But when the moon comes out and the sun goes away and it's just dark, it's a lot more dark outside, we become a lot more scared because we feel more vulnerable. We feel more vulnerable because we can't necessarily see. So that is what the moon card sort of represents in a very generalized sense. To see this in reverse is saying there's no more of this illusion. You're not walking around in the dark anymore. You're not walking around with your eyes closed just trying to feel around. Now you get it. Now you see how much of your heart and mind was playing into your reality. You get it now. You get it. You're no longer confused and you're no longer feeling like you're in a dark space, but instead, it's not that the sun has come back out. You're still in the dark. You're still under the moon. You're still under the moonlight. You're still just depending and relying on just the moonlight. So it's still pitch black outside. It's still midnight. The difference is we're no longer feeling around. We get it now. We are walking around, like I was saying about Mars and Scorpio. We are sitting in this darkness and we're not scared of it anymore. And I got to be really careful when I say darkness because everyone thinks it means something evil and that I'm like a devil worshiper. And it's like, no. Stop it. No, I'm not. So yeah, the moon card is definitely about dropping illusions, and the heart and mind is basically where illusions are born, because like I said, we take the truth and then our emotions and our thoughts get involved and it starts to warp the view of the truth. So with this moon being in reverse, this is saying to me again, we are now looking for real substance, real food, real nutrients, or now we've been able to find real substance, real food, real foundation. The next card that we have here is the Hierophant in reverse. I think I had mentioned the Hierophant, So I'm seeing this Hierophant in reverse as us moving away from structure, us moving away from order, us moving away from the things that the guidance. We're moving away from guidance. We're moving away from needing a map, needing a list of things to do. We're moving away from needing someone to do these things for us so that the way we feel secure and safe. Because do we need people to do things for us? No, we're very capable. But sometimes we will get convinced that in order for us to be living the right way, or in order for us to be doing something correctly, we need somebody that is more equipped, that is smarter, that is stronger, that is more whatever, that has whatever it is that we feel we lack. We feel that we need that other party to come in and sort of secure something for us that we feel that we lack. And so I'm seeing here that we're not necessarily feeling that lack anymore, because the Hierophant in tarot, as you can see, he's kind of almost if you guys can see, it's kind of a glare from my light here, I'm sorry, but Man, that's pretty bad. That's a pretty bad glare. But as you can see, there's two people down here on the Hierophant card. And they're seeking guidance from him. Oh, there we go. Perfect. And they're seeking guidance from this Pope figure here. And basically, you know, they're saying that we can't do this. We cannot make this journey. We cannot make this walk without you. We need you, because we don't understand what it is that we're doing. Now we have found our own real substance. We found our own footing. We have found our own way, and we're feeling a lot more confident. Like I was saying all throughout this video, now we are prepared. We're prepared. We went to school, we studied, we did everything it was that we needed to do. We suffered, we grieved, we went through a really horrible, difficult time over the last 10 years. So many of us have experienced traumas, pains, suffering, real true suffering, the type of suffering that changes your soul, not just your life, but it changes the soul. You can go through suffering that is that profound that it changes your literal soul, your energetic makeup. And this is us saying that everything it is that I have survived, I feel like I know me. I feel confident enough to say that I've been through that. There's some of you that maybe have never experienced trauma in your life. You don't need to have experienced trauma to be wiser, to be wise at all. You just have to be aware to be wise. And I'm seeing that in this card here in the Hierophant. The things that you've gone through, that you've endured, that you've experienced is your wisdom. It's your strength. So you no longer need the guidance from someone else that you thought was more evolved than you. No. At the end of the day, you're the only person that's ever walked in your shoes. So like I said, you can be inspired by other people, but don't look at them as the inspiration. At the end of the day, you're the inspiration. You are. Your journey is the inspiration. Be inspired by that internal journey. We look too much out here. Look in there, because you're going to be very shocked, surprised, and inspired by the warrior that lives in you if you know how to look in you. You have to know how to look in you. You don't even need to have one at certain things in your life. You could have fallen flat on your face every single test, every single experience, every single lesson. You could have fallen flat on your face. But as long as you can look back on that and be aware of it and say, what did I learn? That's your wisdom. That's your warrior. A warrior is a survivor, not a winner. A warrior has nothing to do with winning or losing. It has everything to do with surviving. The next card that we have here is the Page of Cups. The thing that I'm seeing with the Page of Cups is this looks like comfort. Something about this card feels very comfortable, very warm, very familiar. Basically, what I'm saying with this is we have learned how to distinguish our own intuition and spirit's voice from our own mind and from our own heart. Because sometimes the heart and the mind can also muddy not just the truth, but the intuition. And intuition is the truth. So I'm seeing this as now we know how to listen to the most credible source, to the most unfiltered source. Now we know how to do that. We know how to listen just to the intuition, just to the heart, just to spirit's voice, instead of the heart and the mind. Using these things to sort of filter through the truth, through the guidance that we're hearing and receiving, where it's like we have learned how to remove the ego, remove the guidance, remove the ego that's been telling us you need to listen to something else besides the truth, besides your truth, besides what speaks to you. Something could speak to you, but you know how like we'll ask spirit in the universe, well, can you send me another sign? Because I need to make sure I can trust my intuition. You can trust yourself. Look at what you've gone through. Nobody else's story is more interesting than yours. No one's. Because only you can walk in your shoes. So this is a complete separation from what it is that we deem as strong and wise and all-knowing. We're now starting to see ourselves as the Hierophant. We're now starting to consult ourselves instead of outside sources. We're learning how to just take the truth and observe it instead of processing it. Look at the Page of Cups, you guys. He has a damn fish coming out of his cup. Do you think he's trying to process this? Do you think he's trying to understand that? Or is he just observing it? He's just looking at it. He's observing it. He knows very well that a fish got in his cup somehow, but he's just observing. I can trust my eyes that see a fish coming out of this cup. I can trust my senses. I can trust myself. Even though this seems very, very strange, very odd, I can trust myself. You don't need this anymore. You don't need that person anymore. You can trust yourself now. The next card that we have here is the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles. Pentacles, when we deal with Pentacles in tarot, we're looking at something physical, something tangible, something we can grab, something more than just energy, thoughts, or feelings, but this is something we can hold on to. Pentacles, money, coins, for instance. So me seeing the Six of Pentacles, I'm seeing this as nutrients, real substance. We have taken our thoughts, our feelings, our heart, we've converted them to something very real and tangible. We've taken our experiences and we have converted them to wisdom, to knowledge, things it is that we can use to literally manifest and materialize the life, the reality, the environment it is that we want to be a part of. I'm seeing this as a conversion. I don't think I have any other Pentacle cards here. No, I do not. I still have one more card I need to flip over, but I don't have any other Pentacle cards here, you guys. I'm seeing, and this is the next to last tarot card, I'm seeing this as a conversion of energy. The things that we've gone through in the last 10 years, and we are turning it into something that is actually going to work for us. We're using it as nutrients. We have a abundance, a well of information and knowledge and wisdom because of the journey that we have traveled. So much of an abundance of it that we are able to give some away to other people. We're able to actually help other people in need that were at where we were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, a year ago, last month. These people that are begging, this is us, the ones that have been doing work on themselves. You are the person standing with the scales, with an abundance of experience that you've gone through in the last 10 years. And these two people down here represent almost like a past version of yourself that was at once out back and needed someone else to open their heart and to be kind enough to help you out in some way with what it was that you were lacking. They felt that they were lacking the knowledge, so they went to the Hierophant. These people are lacking money, so they go to this person. You're no longer here. You used to be the person that felt that they needed the Hierophant. Now you're the one that's giving away the knowledge and the information because of the journey that you've been through. And that's why I say nobody else's journey is more interesting than yours. And the last card that we have here is the Six of Wands. Victory. Triumph. You made it. You made it to the top of that mountain. That's a beautiful way to sum up these cards. We got off on a little bit of a rocky start there with the two kings in reverse, then to the Wheel of Fortune, then to the Moon in reverse, then the Page of Cups and the Hierophant in reverse, to the Six of Pentacles, and now we end the tarot reading with the Six of Wands. This is victory. This is triumph. You have been somewhere. And the Six of Wands, the story doesn't end with the Six of Wands, even though he finds victory halfway through his journey. Making it to the top of that mountain isn't the end for Capricorn. He doesn't just get up there and just die. No, it doesn't end like that. He has to start descending after he reaches the top of that mountain. He has to start descending. Then he's going to get back down to base camp 1, then back down to the ground, and then he's probably going to encounter another mountain. And he's going to keep going because that is the cycle. That's the wheel. That's the wheel of life, of existence. We climb up mountains, we crawl, we scrape, we climb, we scream, we hurt, we get cuts and bruises. It's all in a fight to get to the top of that mountain. And then once we get up there, then we got to figure out how to make our way down. It's the cycle. Sometimes you're up on top of that mountain. Sometimes you're down looking at the top of it. Sometimes you're up at the top of that mountain looking down, like kind of wish, okay, now I'm ready to come back down. This is victory. This is victory. Coming from everything it is that we've gone through. Like I said, preparation, it might not sound like a great gift that the universe has given us for the holiday season, but preparation is everything. When you're prepared, you can see what's coming. There's an awareness that comes with preparation. Awareness is so priceless. I talk so much about awareness on my channel because people in a spiritual journey, that's what they usually realize is, oh my God, I haven't been aware. That's what being woke is. It's opening your eyes and seeing, truly seeing what's just beneath the surface, just out of the corner of your eye. It's being able to see through the facade of bullshit. No doubt in my mind that you guys have got this. especially the people that have been subscribed to my channel. Like, I see you guys commenting. I know some of you guys now by your names up here, by your faces, and some of the things that you guys have been going through in your life. I read a lot of the comments, and I try to respond to as many as I can, because, you know, we're all going through something. And you guys up here, like, I feel like I've really tapped into just a community of warriors. And I love you guys for that. I love a fighter. I love a fighter. Because a fighter is somebody that is rebellious. They refuse to settle. They refuse to back down. They refuse to accept what is trying to be given to them. They fight because they know their potential and they know what they deserve. And I love that. And even if you're not fighting right now, that's okay. You got an inner warrior, just bring it out. The oracle cards that we have here, I'm probably not going to talk too much on them, because I just want you guys to sit with the cards and come up with your own meanings here. So the very first one that we have is the Wizard, and it says, use your skills to aid others. You guys, what was I saying? What was I saying about the Six of Pentacles? The things that you've been through are able to help other people now, because that's where you're at. That's where you're at. You're already victorious. You just got to go claim your prize now, basically, because of the things that you've been through over the last 10 years. You deserve reciprocity for what it is that you've gone through. You deserve something for what it is that you've gone through. You're just claiming it now. So the Wizard, use your skills to help aid others. The Sun, your perseverance is rewarded. Your perseverance is rewarded. Six of Wands. Next card that we have, you guys, the Queen, love and prosperity. Look at this. Look at this. And we didn't have any queens. We didn't have any, no female energy in any of the tarot cards. The next one that we have, the Caduceus. I think I'm saying that right. You will receive news from afar. That sounds a lot like the Page of Cups, right? The pages in tarot, they can be seen as messengers, deliverers of information and messages. The next card that we have here is beautiful, the Revolutionary. You are inspiration. That's what I'm saying with this. You are inspiration. You have blazed trails that people haven't seen before. You are in your Capricorn vibe right now. Your Capricorn warrior is coming out. You're revolutionary. You're making people go, wow, this is actually possible. Wow, this is actually possible. How do you make somebody realize that something is possible that they thought before was impossible? By being victorious in something. Ascension. You're ascending. You're making that climb. You're making that climb. So many of you guys have been hungry, waiting to make that climb. Like I said earlier, some of you are going to see that mountain and just dream about being at the top of it or getting to the other side. Others of you are going to see it and run in the opposite direction. And there's going to be others of you that see that mountain and go, oh my goodness, yeah, this is going to be a challenge. Yeah, this is going to be hard work, but I am ready. I finally get my chance to climb. The people that get excited about their challenges, you guys are the revolutionaries. You inspire the rest of us to push harder. I said that in the very beginning of my video. So many of you guys have inspired me to push even harder. I love you guys for that. I love my warriors, man. You guys are inspirations. You keep the world going round. And the very last card that we have here is enter the chamber of healing. Healing in the divine chamber of the Lady Isis, Lady Aset. Mother Aset, she's extremely healing. This would be the otherwise known as the goddess Isis. She's very healing. She is magic. She's divination. She's a great mother. I actually even did a pick a card on the goddess Aset and a message that she may have for you. So I will also link that down below if you guys are interested in that. Basically, I'm seeing this healing card from Mother Aset is I'm seeing this as there's a lot of recuperation that's going on right now. A lot of people are healing. They're soaking their muscles because they've just been through a journey over the last 10 years. And now we're maybe some of us are soaking our muscles. Some of us are preparing, we're packing bags, getting ready to make that ascension, getting ready to make that climb. And also another thing about this healing chamber card is it looks very dark in this chamber right here. It looks very dark. This reminds me of the unconscious, the shadow, doing shadow work. Again, for me, this is coming up. The chamber of healing, yeah. Do some shadow work. Some of you guys are going to need to do some shadow work. Some of you guys are doing shadow work. Some of you guys are in your dark night of the soul or coming out of it. So do not hesitate to do some work on the unconscious brain, the unconscious psyche, the shadow. But basically, yes, this is all that I'm seeing for the cards for 2019 for this new moon in Capricorn, this solar eclipse in Capricorn. I'm going to leave you guys with the cards, but before I do, I just want to say again, another huge thank you. Thank you guys for sitting through this video with me, taking this ride with me, this journey with me. You guys know how I do things. I want to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, beautiful spirit itself for delivering these awesome messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon, but until next time, you guys, please stay safe, stay blessed, keep conquering the world, and let's get ready to rock 2020 because it's ours. Okay? Bye now.